Hello, and welcome to the Steve and Mark Discuss podcast, where I, Mark, will listen to a topic that Steve introduces, and when he's finished his monologue, I will respond, and he may respond to my responses. So, over to Steve.
Hi, people. Apple. This is right up your street. Apple abandoned Project Titan, you might have heard
Yes,
yesterday.
yes.
Project Titan was, beginning today, their electric car.
Mm.
After 10 years of working on the vehicle, on the project.
Mm.
They had 2,000 people working on the project. But according to Apple, they succumbed to a competitive electric vehicle market.
Mm.
2,000 people on a project over 10 years, and they
Yeah.
couldn't get their act together. That's amazing.
Mm.
But it's not only that.
Yeah.
Let's delve a little bit deeper.
Mm.
Their idea, the Apple's idea, was to have a fully independent, autonomous
Mm.
electric vehicle.
Yeah.
They invested billions
Mm.
in this project, and one of the higher ups said, that it's just a minor setback for Apple.
Right. Yeah.
But if you ask me, I mean, this abandon of this, it would have bitten into Apple's profits,
Mm.
which is why you got a little bit missing at the top of the apple. That's where the bite
Yeah.
got them. In 2022, the site, The Information,
Mm.
said that the project was in trouble. This is in
Yeah.
2022, due to lack of interest from the leadership. Now, it didn't say, it didn't stipulate if it was the leadership of Apple in itself or just the leadership of the project.
Mm.
No.
Yeah.
But I suspect that it's from the higher ups,
Right.
because it sort of trickles down, doesn't it?
Mm.
But I mean, Apple are not on their own.
Yeah.
They're really slow on the uptick. Apple.
Yeah. Okay.
Several US car makers have slowed the production of electric vehicles, and also in the UK and in the EU,
Mm.
people like GM, Mercedes, Audi,
Mm.
Volkswagen, and even Aston Martin
Mm.
have cut back, have either abandoned or cut back on
Yeah.
their productions of electric vehicles. The
Oh.
majority of them said it's because people aren't buying them, and I
Mm.
suspect it's because the incentives to the government incentives to buy the vehicles have stopped,
Mm.
and also others have complained about the lack of infrastructure to
Yeah.
keep cars running. Some people are saying about with the weight of the cars that they have to
Okay.
re-dimension public car parks, multi-story car parks,
Yeah.
for
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
the extra weight, and then this goes on,
Mm.
Cruise and Waymo, owned by Google,
Mm.
they've got problems because they can't get their products to sell
Mm.
any further than San Francisco, where they're based.
Mm.
Probably their cars can't make it out to San Francisco, so nobody can see them
Yeah.
actually on the road. Apple said it will transfer many of the people from the Titan project
Yeah.
to AI, to artificial intelligence.
Yeah. Okay. That's,
But Apple finds itself behind the curve when it comes to AI,
mm.
because all this GPT and all this, is being done by Google. It's being done by Microsoft, and Apple seems to be the very poor
Right,
cousin of these other tech companies, if you like.
right, yeah.
They don't have any text-based products of AI.
Mm,
They concentrated more on image editing,
okay. Well, yeah.
more on images. And so this on top of the slowing sales of their
Mm,
latest iPhone.
mm.
Was it 15 now? 15, iPhone
Yeah, yeah,
15 now?
whatever, yeah, yeah. Something I can't afford.
Whatever it is,
I've
whatever it
got my
is.
rival Samsung one here. Yeah, so yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Yeah.
Right. Well, so this must be hitting Apple to the very core, pardon it, if you pardon the expression.
Yeah, taking a bite out of their profits. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So this opens the question: is does Tim Cook, who's the top of Apple, does he have the same qualities as Steve Jobs did, or is it that AI is getting too advanced for some companies to keep up?
Right.
You know,
That's the $1 million question. Quite literally, the $1 billion question.
well,
Yeah.
well, the thing is, that we may see if Apple can't keep up with the rest of the team, it's like thinning the herd out.
Well,
They're going to fall by the wayside.
yeah. Funny enough, yeah. I was just planning my response, and I was about to say that. So you've stolen my thunder a bit with that one.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, no, it's an obvious statement. Yeah.
Over to you with that one.
Right. Okay.
It's
When we okay.
your world.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's my world. I'm not in it as such. Now this is all research and development, R&D. Okay. I've been attached to it. I worked British Railways for years. Had a big R&D section in Derby and other places, Crewe and Derby. They didn't always have successful products, but they learned from it. Okay. Now, when we're talking about R&D, there's that things are going to fail. Yeah. There's an element of risk against something not being a success. Yeah. So you weigh that. But when you're doing R&D, you always learn something, even if something doesn't work. That's a valuable lesson. Okay. So when you're doing that, and then something offshoots, and you come like this. A company like Apple will do this. Now, there's a video online of Steve Jobs talking about this concept many years ago. Yeah, probably in the 90s. And somebody challenged him, a bit of an annoyed programmer. And when programmers get annoyed, they almost get annoyed to the rest of us. Yeah, very politely. Yeah, and he had an open session, and the way he spoke, and he gave a very good answer. Mistakes going to be made. We decide this. We decide to drop that. That's how Apple do things. Or he came back with that philosophy. Yeah. He was a chancer. When we talk about Steve Jobs, he wasn't a brilliant guy. The technical brains was always Steve Wozniacki. Yeah, Wozniacki. Absolute brilliant guy. Steve Jobs had charisma, and he did. I mean, no, he would know how to do things. To say he didn't know things, he did. He dropped out of university, went round. He had inspiration. Yeah. And yeah, okay, Elon Musk is, let's use another example, more contemporary. Elon Musk is probably more technically capable than Steve Jobs. Elon Musk knows how to do things. He doesn't always know marketing. He's not always the most comfortable person when he's being spoken to. You can tell that by his speech. But he knows what to achieve or what he wants to achieve. So did Steve Jobs. He had inspiration. And that's what these people are. Tim Cook is a marketing guy, from what I can tell, pure and simple. But he does take risks. He is a little bit more of the modern entrepreneur. He's not wild, he's not fire. Everything would have been budgeted for within Apple. I don't think Apple were about to go bankrupt because they couldn't compete in the autonomous car market. Let's be honest, that's what it is. Car technology hasn't changed. 4 wheels, something to drive it. Yeah. Battery powered cars are not new. At the inception of cars, that was actually discussed. And okay, there's reasons why petroleum on oil, or oil, which petroleum comes from oil, got into ascendancy. It was availability, apart from anything else, and availability of materials, which is still an issue with cars today. Yeah, batteries are heavy. They do put a lot down. It depends on where they're going. As we said before, Tesla are an AI company that happen to put their product on 4 wheels. And it's a variation of a theme. Ford are doing exactly the same, and all the other companies you've mentioned. Now, the scaling back, people aren't buying them. I'm going to say this in support of it, and obviously we've got a friend of the channel who's very much involved in this industry as well, who's appeared on here, if you want to look at Jeff Taylor before. That is looking at the availability of this, the products. It's trying to get the cost reasonable to produce it for the consumer. There has to be, now at some point in the future, somebody's going to have to decide. Well, it's a natural thing. People are still going to go for the conventional, we call it gas in American English, but yeah, petrol engines, because they do go farther. They're cheaper to run overall. The convenience of it. If you run out of the reason to get the thing that gives you motive power, you can't go down to local garage and just download or get some electricity. No. There's all sorts of things. Yeah, it's the joke of the guy carrying a diesel generator in the back of his Tesla or Ford, Ford? Yeah, Ford or whatever, to charge his car. I mean, it's a joke. Or you've got the charging stations with the diesel generator. Yeah, we can argue, is that more efficient or that better for the environment than individual cars? Okay, I'd like to see the analysis on that. Yeah, they are heavier. They do cost more in rubber, I believe, because it's heavier and it runs on that. That destroys the roads more. Somebody's going to have to do a complete benefit analysis of all this. Ultimately, when we talk about governments, they actually want to reduce. I think the overall thing is how many cars there are actually on the roads.
Of course.
Which we live in Receiving. We can kind of sympathise with that. I don't own a car, for example. I did have a driving licence. I could renew it, but I'd have a car sitting down in my parking lot downstairs when the apartment block I live in, that wasn't used. Yeah, something deteriorates money. Much better for me to use an Uber. So car ownership will probably maybe decline. Maybe governments or people in authority are trying to push this as well. I think it's all wrong. I'm all for a free choice. Now, let's be honest. A majority of the electric cars at the moment, bar the ones that are coming from China, are luxury items. Tesla is a luxury car. You said Aston Martin. Okay, the Ford Rangers or the Ford pickups. Again, they haven't got the power and the range that the petrol have or the diesel have. Yeah, very few people buy petrol 4x4 to do practical work with. It costs a fortune. But yeah, the diesel. So there's a lot of problems. Now, the technology in electric cars, EVs, is incredible. I'll say that as an engineer. It's incredible, and it's getting better and better. It will be refined, and you're going to need companies like Apple to do the R&D. It might be that Apple were trying to improve the technology to be more environmentally friendly and all that, and that's probably the side that's failed at the moment, given our recent.
Well, they say it's the competitive.
Well, yeah,
market.
Well, of course it
right,
is.
So they've got to fit their cars onto the market, and
yeah,
they couldn't, and they decided it wasn't going to be worth it.
I mean, overall, Apple do produce quality products. We joke about the iPhone.
When we talk about electric cars, you say that the technology is second to none. I just find, being a car driver, I just find a lot of what is with electric cars, lots of bells and whistles, which aren't necessary in a car.
They're luxury goods. Yeah.
you got LEDs that flash all
Yeah,
around you, and
yeah,
electric mirrors and electric this and that and the other.
yeah,
And if that doesn't drain the battery
yeah,
quicker, but it just seems to be a lot of like I said, bells and whistles. That
yeah,
just
yeah.
aren't necessary when you're driving
Well,
around.
okay, we had the hi-fis and things like that. Yeah, I mean, they're trying to sell a product. And like I say, if you sold just the basic thing, I think the Chinese may be producing more and more simple cars that you're seeing around on the streets in Recife at the moment. They're probably finding the market more than anyone else. Yeah, yeah, electric cars are probably good for running around a town. Yeah, where you could potentially have charging points, or
What seems to be coming out of China more
yeah,
are cars that are around about the same size or a bit smaller than the old milk floats we had in the UK.
well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, practical.
You know,
Yeah.
a little. It's a bicycle with or a quadricycle
No,
with
no,
a
no.
battery.
There are BYD Build Your Dreams and things like that. There are some good things coming out, but um, they're
Well,
they're nice looking products. I don't know how good or bad they are. You have to read the reviews to establish that. I mean, there's a big they BYD got the big plant, the old Ford plant in Brazil, in Bahia, in Brazil,
mm,
and converted that for their uses. And they're producing domestically produced cars for the Brazilian, if not South American market. Um, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's competitive. Okay, the Chinese are still good business people, whatever we may not worry about other things with them. They're entitled to be in the market like anyone else. If people like their products, they'll buy them if they're at the right price. And I think that's it. It's pricing. There's a lot of other factors involved. One of the other funny things is, and I know this because I like one of my dream cars is a 1960s, 70s Mustang, Ford Mustangs with a okay, old traditional, yeah, not very fuel efficient at all. Okay, I admit they're not good for the environment. Lovely looking cars, and yeah, I like to hear the grunt. So you talk about gadgets doing it now. I believe now they're having to sell, or you can have it as an option, something that gives off a sound
yeah.
to show the grunt, hear the grunt of a traditional car. Because yeah, I've seen someone I know, someone I know. Tell me I'm getting excited about these things. Yeah. Um, someone I know has actually test driven the Mustang, and it's like very quiet. What's the point? Yeah, it's like drinking non-alcoholic beer. It's pointless. Can't hear that roar. You can't hear
So
the
it's so you can sit in the corner.
yeah. Yeah, I mean yeah, that's what it is. It's boring. They are boring. Yeah, and that's why I think there's this thing, the psychological thing, why they got to put the gadgets on. I mean, Tesla are incredible pieces of kit when you read about them. Okay, people always find this is wrong and that's wrong. This is design issues. Okay, as I said, it's all part of the R&D thing. They're improving as they go along. What does the consumer want? What the consumer wants are not always what they need. There's a big difference between what people
Yeah,
need and what they
of
want.
course, of course, of course, of course.
I mean, if you're going to spend,
You can say that about the owner of a Rolls Royce.
yeah,
What they want and what they need
yeah,
poles apart.
yeah, exactly. I mean, if there's a demand for this technology, it will come down in price. I do think governments are making it difficult. We know, obviously, I'm going to out him again, my cousin Jeff. He's actually trying to help improve the production of these things. Yeah. The other side is that do electric cars catch fire more? And there's a lot of publicity on the internet about this. I don't know the statistics. I haven't been able to find it out. Steve, you're the guy that finds these statistics out far better than me. You dig really down. I don't think there's any more. Certainly at the moment, extinguishing a electric car, an EV, is difficult because you can't
There were
just put.
those
Yeah,
there were those London buses, a
yeah.
spate of 3 fires on London buses
But
recently
again, yeah,
on,
it,
on 3 different buses, and
yeah,
they had to take all the electric buses off
yeah.
because they kept catching fire.
I mean, is that just an unfortunate coincidence, or is it because they're
Well, let's toast a few passengers and find out.
I'm not going there today in London at the
Oh
moment.
well, it's like Boeing.
Yeah,
It's like the Boeing
yeah.
seven three
The do-
seven
doors flying off.
where
Yeah.
the door pops off. Yeah, do you keep on producing them in the same way,
Well,
or just to wait and see just to wait and see what
it
happens next,
yeah. It's like I've
or do
just
you
been.
change things up?
Yeah. It's just I've been. I was talking to you about a piece of IT equipment I bought is that the manufacturer's changed the board 3 times to solve the problem. It's the same problem. If you change the board 3 times, I think the problem is a little bit more involved.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not the
yeah,
board.
yeah. Well, it is the board, but yeah,
It's the board, but it's something else. It
yeah,
isn't
yeah,
changing
yeah,
the board doesn't solve the problems
yeah,
because it's
yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah. It is a yeah. Again, this is all part of the research and development. I mean, the development of anything takes time. Apple are an R&D company. They always have been. There's actually an Italian, a European, I think she's Italian American economist, and I can't remember her name, and I might put her in a link or do a picture of her name a bit later on post-production here, where she talks about products that we buy from that produced in America, that we think America is a free capitalist society or business. And there's actually a lot of government funding goes into a lot of Apple and other American corporations, business, development, R&D, that the US government don't actually get anything back from directly, or even taxes, she argues. There's actually a video of hers from 2013. I don't agree with everything she said in it. Again, it's from 2013, so things can change. But she makes some very interesting comments about things. That
I'd like. So go on.
yeah, you'd like to
Finish
see
it.
that. Yeah, I'll
Finish your thought.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I watched this video, but it's she does an interesting talk about it all. It's a TED talk actually, so it's available, widely available. Like I said, I don't agree with everything she says, but she makes some interesting things, comparisons against the European development, that the Americans look at it and go, European has too much government, the Europeans have too much government involvement in their development, whereas the Americans don't. And the Americans have probably pumped more money in than anyone else,
Right.
with this probably exception of the Chinese government.
Which is bringing back to something you said earlier on.
Yeah.
You said that Steve Jobs, he would take risks
Yeah.
in the research and development, and why not? Of course.
Yeah.
But at that time, Apple was in ascension.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of money. The tech companies,
Yeah.
remember the tech boom? The tech companies had so much money, and many companies hit the wall.
Yeah.
Many companies hit the wall. And at the time when Steve Jobs was around, Apple was receiving a lot of money from investors.
Yeah.
And it was in ascension. Now we're coming to the point, which was my point in this podcast, is that it strikes me that Apple now has hit its peak.
Well,
It hit its peak. The sales of their iPhone are going down.
yeah.
They've cancelled this
Well,
this Titan, and they're only now are looking into AI. Well, seriously looking into AI. So much so that 2,000 people in this project are going to be transferred to AI
well,
to look
okay.
at AI. And they've only looked at AI in images and not in text.
Well,
Everybody else has gone to text.
well, okay.
And
So,
like we said, AI, Apple might be becoming the runt on the herd that might hit the wall.
well, I
It
don't know.
won't be today. It won't be today.
No.
But let's see what happens. Let's see what Tim Cook can do about it.
Well, okay. I mean, we can say this. They got a failed development thing. It's not like they're slumping right down. The share prices might go down a bit. They're probably overpriced anyway, or probably it probably, as you say, a bit of a leveling for them. I don't think anyone there will be panicking. They haven't annoyed the consumers or anything. Okay, iPhones are going down. They're in a competitive market with
And Android.
Android, and most of the world owns a Samsung. I mean, Apple have a reputation of producing good quality, high-end products. Well, yeah, they do. I do look at them, what they can do. Maybe there's not the support for them that there was years ago with different things, apps and all that. Depends what you want. Again, it depends what you want from a phone. If you want the luxury good thing that does a few things well, maybe iPhone, Apple iPhone is good for you. Their computers are always far superior to most of the things we buy as well. Certainly for graphics and things like this. So it's not a surprise that Apple would actually be more in the graphics AI field
Well, there you go.
than that. So